Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we walk you through how we decolonized our new grad transition to practice program here at PHSA. Our team here is the PHSA Learning and Development, and we are excited to share our new grad transition to practice journey with you. This presentation is intended for leaders that support new graduates, both nursing and allied health professionals in healthcare. The PHSA Roots program began with a simple idea that new graduates deserved more than survival. They deserved to feel supported, connected, and grounded. But in order to do that, we knew we had to do more than update a curriculum. We had to look at ourselves, our systems, and our assumptions. And that's where the journey truly began. My name is Feiruz Devji, and I'm joined by my colleagues Lisa Jang, Vicky Lalari, and Simi Kaln. Each have been instrumental in reimagining and redesigning this program. Together, we're proud to share not just what we've built, but how we've been changed by the process. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that PHSA provides care across British Columbia on the traditional, unceded, and ancestral territories of over 200 First Nations communities, representing 7 language families and over 30 dialects. We serve people from urban centers and remote communities. Our work is guided by the United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous People and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's call to action. But beyond policies and reports, this work is also spiritual, relational, and deeply human. We are honored to have received a gift here at PHSA from knowledge keeper Sultan Shane Point, 6 Coast Salish teachings that now guide us in building a culturally safe, inclusive, and accountable healthcare environment. Now that we've grounded ourselves in the work that takes place and the responsibilities we carry forward, we want to share how we're going to walk you through the story of Roots today. Our journey is guided by 3 core principles: reflect, relearn, and refocus. In reflections, we look honestly at our current program and the systems we've inherited. We then relearn by opening ourselves to the Indigenous knowledge systems, multiple worldviews, and new ways of thinking, while refocusing, putting that learning into practice by reimagining our programs, shifting our language, and building community-centered approaches. These aren't just stages, they're ongoing commitments. I'm going to now pass it over to Simi, who will walk us through the first steps of our journey.
The process to decolonize our new grad program started with reflection. And although we felt that we were already making waves due to the uniqueness of our program being interdisciplinary, we learned that we needed to start thinking holistically. In 2023, PHSA launched the new Graduate Transition to Practice program, an interdisciplinary initiative supporting nursing and allied health new graduates from the beginning of their career to about 18 months. This consisted of 5 linear facilitated workshops and was grounded in Dr. Judy Duscher's transition theory and transition shock. The program recognized that new grads need more than just orientation. They need community and a scaffolded approach to learning that supports their transition from student to healthcare professional. From the start, we felt we were making waves by bringing new graduates from all disciplines together to learn, reflect, and grow in a shared space. Most healthcare education and training occurs in silos, whereas healthcare delivery is provided in a team, which requires understanding each other's roles, respecting each other's knowledge and expertise, and managing different priorities. Whether it's a nurse and physiotherapist mobilizing a patient, or a radiation therapist, dietitian, and nurse coordinating cancer care, patients and families aren't cared for alone, and we felt that we were making waves in building a program that honored this. To think holistically was a term that we learned about through an article released in 2023 by academics at UBC. The article describes holistic, with a W, to be more inclusive of Indigenous ways of knowing, understanding, being, and doing, especially when related to Indigenous pedagogies, cultures, practices, tradition, health, and wellness. It moves beyond the traditional holistic with an H that is more common in Canadian academic and healthcare settings. Updating the program through the holistic lens required us to rethink our design principles and facilitation priorities to ensure we were staying true to what we wanted to build. Naturally, through this lens, we began to reflect on our own learning journeys and healthcare experiences. Many of us working in healthcare have been raised and professionally trained in systems that are deeply shaped by colonialism and white supremacy culture. These values are embedded in our healthcare and education systems, in the way policies are made, how leadership is structured, even how we define success. We're conditioned to see learning as linear, outcomes as binary, and care as compartmentalized. But real care and real change requires holistic thinking. As a team, we had to reflect on our own positions within these systems, our unconscious biases that existed, and values that we carried with us. And as we worked through the different aspects of the program, we asked ourselves and each other, who are we building for, whose voices are centered, and who's missing from the table. As we reflected, we also realized we needed to learn more about Indigenous pedagogy and other worldviews that could help us understand and implement a program that was different. Some of our learning led us to the two-eyed seeing approach. This approach encourages us to see the world through two perspectives: the strengths of Indigenous knowledge systems and the strengths of Western systems, not one replacing the other, but learning to incorporate both together with respect and intention. Learning about this approach, we were looking for something that could be the cornerstone to our program that reflected both of these perspectives. And naturally, we began to look around our beautiful landscapes that have been cared for by Indigenous people since time memorial. We started to really reflect on our program goal. The way it was currently written really reflected our colonial ideology. What are we going to do for you to help you? And leaned into what we had learned and what we had heard from new graduates and started to reimagine a new program where new graduates and leaders walked intentionally together and moved in community to better serve patients, families, and communities around us. I'm going to hand it over to Lisa now, who's going to talk us a little bit more in our journey to attempt to decolonize our program.
Thank you, Simi. In the next steps of our journey, we identify 4 foundational principles, principles that now guide every part of our work: nature, connection, storytelling, and community. These are not just themes, they're living principles. They guide how we design, how we teach, and how we show up for one another and for our new graduates. Nature, specifically the Western red cedar, became our inspiration and grounded the program. The Western red cedar is a tree deeply respected by many Coast Salish communities and grows abundantly across the West Coast. We named the program Roots because strong roots nourish us and are the foundation for new graduates to thrive within the systems and environments they work in. This helped us design a more human approach supporting new grads who often enter the workforce feeling uncertain and overwhelmed. Like the cedar, their growth is not instant. It's layered, seasonal, and relational. We did this through rewriting the 5 facilitated workshops, providing opportunities for self-paced learning, and building a robust community of practice. In this, we've woven the imagery of nature into everything we do. Our program is grounded in the principles of decolonization, trauma-informed care, and universal design for learning. PHSA spans across the province. We're currently delivering our sessions virtually, as it's the best way we can bring everyone together in the same space across the different programs and services, creating that space of equity. We use the flipped classroom approach that provides new graduates a chance to explore key topics before the session even starts. So if you like coming in feeling prepared, that option's for you. We structure content thoughtfully, and we always begin with a territory acknowledgement, not as a checkbox, but as a meaningful moment of reflection and respect. We also pay close attention to psychological safety, especially in virtual spaces. For instance, like now in the screen, cameras are optional. We know some people engage more fully when they're not on screen, and we want to honor that. We've also built visual cues in our slides to help signal transitions and activities, and we use multiple ways to engage, like group discussions, chat, and interactive tools, which help us understand how new grads are processing their transition, what feels clear, what's still emerging, and what might still feel uncertain. To help foster that connection, we use breakout rooms. These smaller spaces give new graduates the chance to connect more personally, because let's be honest, big groups can be intimidating. Smaller conversations make it easier to share stories and learn from one another. All of these approaches are about building a welcoming, interactive space where people feel safe, valued, and heard. Because at the end of the day, everyone's voice matters. Our curriculum rewrite led to the design of 5 flexible workshops to support new grads throughout their first 18 months of practice. The workshops cover key themes: finding connection, building holistic thinking and team communication skills, navigating conflict, building resilience, and stepping into leadership through a growth mindset and reciprocity. While we suggest taking them in order, new grads can join the sessions at any time, really based on what feels most relevant to them. Each session creates a space of reflection, community, and practical tools so new grads don't just survive the transition, but actually grow through it. Now, I'd like to invite Vicky to share some additional initiatives beyond the workshops that continue to support the new grads through their journey.
Thanks, Lisa. Storytelling is not just a strategy in roots. It's a responsibility and honors different ways of knowing. In Indigenous pedagogy, storytelling is how knowledge is passed, truths are shared, and healing begins. It's not linear, it's not always polished, but it's real, and it connects us in ways that facts alone cannot. Through storytelling, we introduce concepts like cultural humility and anti-racism. We bring storytelling to life in tangible ways. Our educators and facilitators model reflection by sharing their own stories, stories of challenge, learning, and growth. Our SharePoint sites host a new grad storyboard, like what you see here on this slide, is an example of storytelling. What's your new grad story? Where learners and mentors contribute experiences, questions, and insights. Reflections gathered through e-circulators and surveys are not just data. They are woven back into the program to inform how we teach, adapt, and respond. Storytelling allows us to break the binary thinking of right and wrong learning, and instead move towards relational, layered, and human learning. Like the rings inside a cedar tree, our learners carry stories that shape their growth, mark their adversity, and reveal their transformation. Roots simply make space for these stories to be seen, heard, and valued. Community. Community is not just a goal in Roots. It's how we work, learn, and grow. Guided by the Co-Salus teaching, Eishlaken, good medicine, we recognize that the way we care for one another, the space we create, and the relationships we foster all contribute to healing. In this program, community itself becomes the medicine. That's why we've built multiple platforms for sharing, learning, and relationship building. We use breakout rooms, Padlet, and Mentimeter to create interactive spaces where learners can shape their own learning journey. A guest speaker series brings a way to show new grads of other resources from other departments that new grads might not know about. Ongoing surveys allow learners to tell us what's working and how we can improve both in clinical settings and in the Roots program. Our community of practice for new grads is rooted in reciprocity, inclusion, and shared growth. We've also created a new grad leader collaborative where leaders across PHSA in any domain can attend and engage in, as needed, in a culture of support around the new graduates. And as new grads grow in confidence, we invite them to become peer support ambassadors and even panel speakers during our story harvest sessions, ensuring that they have opportunities to give back and uplift others. Refocus reminds us to move in a way that's grounded in care, balance, and responsibility for future generations in healthcare. That means choosing courage over fear. We need to ensure that we are moving in a way that honors appreciation of other knowledge systems and not appropriation. Acknowledging when we make mistakes and learning from them when we do. We also hold to progression, not perfection. Progression means we revisit, adapt, and improve, not allowing perfection to hold us back to launch imperfect work. This requires intentionality over urgency and a willingness to stay open. A co-part of this refocus is building reciprocity. New grads are invited to become mentors, panelists, or simply to reach out to a peer via the community wall. We guide them towards opportunities like the preceptor workshops, showing how they can support others as they grow. Finally, we commit to learning. We need to invest in ourselves to unlearn colonial ideology and learn other worldviews to build inclusive professional development programs. Every voice matters. Keeping in mind the diversity of our audience, we have provided multiple pathways to gather feedback, such as traditional participation surveys, interactive and reflective activities, simulation activities, and more. This allows participants to share their opinions, thoughts, and feedback. Some of the feedback we have received is visible here on this slide. Participants have said, "You are not alone. Don't be afraid to ask for help." And we are feeling things all the time. Stay curious. Having this shared space has been invaluable. It provides us with information to make real-time adjustments to our program. And now I'd like to pass it back to Ferouz for some concluding thoughts.
As we wrap up, we return to a simple truth. Patients are not cared for in silos, neither should our new graduates. When we invest in community, we don't just improve learning, we support the growth of healthier, more connected professionals. Supporting our staff begins at the very start of their careers. The way we welcome, teach, and walk with our new graduates matter. It sets the tone for the kind of healthcare system we are building together. That concludes our presentation. And in the next few slides, we have our recommended resources and references that have helped us in our journey. We would also like to thank our partners, whom without none of this would have been possible. I want to leave you with the words Halakisla, my breath goes with you. In Indigenous teachings, this is a symbol of life, spirit, and connection. A reminder that a part of who we are can travel with others. Our hope is that a part of the energy, learning, and commitment we've shared today goes with you, carrying forward into the work you do to strengthen how you welcome, guide, and grow your teams. Thank you.